Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so what we're going to do is, obviously we don't want to stitch Elijah up too much, but we've got loads of questions regarding careers, sporting, a little bit of background on yourself. A lot of these boys and girls are interested in obviously sport and football as careers. So we just want to pick your brains really and kind of hear about your journey, hear about what it takes to be a professional, and yeah, kind of inspire them really to kind of show them different career paths that perhaps they can go into, perhaps not as footballers, but perhaps behind the scenes and roles that they can perhaps get involved in as well.
Yeah, and that's no problem. That's fine. I'm ready for you to pick my brain.
Good.
It's fine.
Perfect. Right, boys, do you want to fire away first some of your questions?
Who's the best you played with or against?
Best player I've played with and against. I would probably say Mr. Dembele, who now you guys might know that plays for Atletico Madrid. Played with him when I was at the age of 16. He was 18. Played in the same team, and he was a very good player. Always knew that he was destined to play at the top, just by the way he played in and around the group and scored loads of goals. And I would say against, it'd probably be we played Chelsea in a pre-season friendly, and I mean there was a lot of good players that played, but I'd say one player that stood out for me was probably Kante. He's very good at what he does, wins the ball back. Just a pain to play against because you just can't get the ball off him, and he's always trying to get the ball off you. So yeah, I would say Kante is probably the best player I probably played against. Did you get that?
Two good names to drop in there. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right, who's up next, boys?
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi. Do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to tell you why?
Yeah.
So for me personally, I've always said that Ronaldo now has become the greatest goal scorer of definitely my generation and the generations before. He made himself into a great goal scorer. When he was younger, he did play a little bit different, but as he got older, he got used to being first, and he knew that was gonna push his career on and make him. He wanted to be the best at something, and I feel like he's just become a great goal scorer in the box. You know, if you get the ball into him, it's like he's always gonna score or make the keeper work, but more often where you put him inside the box, outside the box. Whereas for Messi, I think not only does he score goals, but he creates goals for others. He has the best stats, dribbling stats. He's just an all-round player. You see him dropping into midfield to pick out passes to try and set up goals for other teammates. Very unselfish. So that's why I feel like all-round player. Yeah, Messi does score goals and scores free kicks, but he also has that other side of his game where he knows when it's right to pass to his teammates and make sure that it's a team game. Whereas you see Ronaldo, if he doesn't score, he gets fairly upset very quickly. So that's the reason why behind it for me. I feel like Messi is just a great player, but Ronaldo's a great goal scorer. Agree or disagree? I don't mind.
I always say
people
Messi.
have different. Yeah. Good.
I like how Elijah. You can tell Elijah's a goal scorer. He picks the goal scorer over the dribbler, doesn't
he? Goal scorer, yeah.
This is it. Who's next, boys?
Who do you support?
it's a tough question for me because you'll be surprised to know that I don't actually support anyone. I'm just a big admirer of football. I like watching different styles of football, different teams play, how they go about playing against teams that might be better than them in different aspects, and how they try and combat it. So I don't really try and tie myself down to a team. I know the stresses of supporting one team because I see my friends and stuff. They just shout at the TV, they cry, they're happy. And I just feel like sometimes you just need to just sit back and watch the game for itself and take everything in. Fortunately, I do not support a team.
Yeah. There's like a few boys in that classroom that support Liverpool. When you ask them now who they support, they kind of say no one. So it's interesting. But you've got legit reasons. These ones that just fell off their little bandwagon. Good. They know who they are.
Tough.
Right, who's next?
Sorry, say that again.
Why did you know you wanted to be pro?
When did I know I wanted to be a footballer? Did you say? Sorry. I would say it really sort of kicked in around the age of 12. I mean, I started playing football when I was 7. I joined an academy when I was 8. So I think it sort of kicked in around 12, 13 when I kind of saw, obviously I was watching quite a lot of football at the time, and I remember I think I remember just going to a few Fulham games and just realizing that, yeah, this is something that I want to do. I want to be playing in front of crowds and big amounts of people, and having people cheer for me when I score a goal, because you see when a goal goes in, you see how much joy it brings to the even me as a fan. When I was going to watch some Fulham games, I could see the excitement around the place. So it was around 12, 13 when I thought, yeah, I'd love to be playing in and around big crowds and having people just chanting, and it's quite a surreal experience. So to have that would be I just thought it'd be great. So I think 12, 13 is when I really thought to myself, yeah, I really want to be a footballer. And I mean, I went home and I played. Even after training, I went home and I carried on playing with friends and playing with my brother, just because I just knew that I loved it, and it's just something that was enjoyable to me at the time as well.
Obviously, being in that setup and going through academies and all of that, like, you do kind of come under criticism and things like that, and obviously that was quite difficult perhaps to take at such a young age. So what kind of advice would you give to the boys? Obviously these are now slightly older, but kind of how you deal with kind of criticism and things like that. Have you got any advice? I
just feel like you should never ever take anything that people say personally. I feel like we live in a world where everyone's going to have their opinions, and as long as you believe in yourself, always believe in yourself, have a self-belief that you're going to be able to override any obstacles that come along your way. You're going to get bumps in the road, and nothing's ever easy in life. Like, life's not easy for anyone. So it's just about making sure that you're doing everything possible that's in your control to make sure that you're going to reach the certain level that you are. Because for me, I had criticism. Everyone has criticism. I went and played in non-league for a couple of months, and it wasn't bright then, But I just always thought to myself, like, listen, this is what you wanted to do. This is what you chose to do. And you have to believe in yourself. And I had good people around me as well, telling me that it's not always going to be, you know that there's never going to be a smooth road ahead. You knew there's going to be bumps. It's just about how you come over them. Are you going to keep working hard, or are you just going to let it pass you by? And how much do you really want to be a footballer is the question you have to ask yourself at the end of the day. Is this what you want?
I think that's quite fair, and obviously you probably have to sacrifice
what you
a lot
want,
of things as
believe me.
well in life
Me.
to become
Hard you can.
where you are.
Yeah. Like I left home when I was 14. I went to go and live with like a big family, hostel family, in order to further my career. So I went to a school that was closer to the Fulham Football Club. So some days we'd obviously go into school as well, and then we'd go and train afterwards. So I didn't see my family until saw my teammates more than I saw my family. So I only saw my family on the weekends. Obviously, the sacrifices are there, but you know what the end goal is at the end of the day. You can then enjoy with your family once you get older and the hard work starts paying off.
Yeah. Right, who's got another question, boys? Any more? I know there's a massive list.
How would you describe your leadership role on the pitch?
So can you repeat that for me? Sorry.
How would you describe your leadership goals on the pitch?
For me, I'm not really a big talker on the pitch. I kind of do what I need to do on the pitch, and I feel like that takes care of itself. Sometimes I do chime in with a few things that I feel like would help myself and the team, but I guess it has changed especially for me positionally, because I was a defender before, so I was a lot more spoken on the pitch. I felt like I needed to tell people where they needed to be, and how that would help the team. But now, obviously, transitioning into a different position, it's I feel like I've got a lot quieter on the pitch. I kind of just go around and do my job, try and score as many goals as I can. I wouldn't say I'm a massive speaker on pitch, no.
Good. Anyone else, boys?
What's your most memorable experience?
Again, sorry.
What's your most memorable experience?
Wait, I'm just gonna. Sorry, Ricky, can you repeat that for me? Sorry.
So he's saying, what is your most memorable experience playing football?
Oh, most memorable experience. To be fair, it came quite, to be fair. I would say, even though right now there isn't any fans in, which is for us, I would probably say we played Sheffield Wednesday a couple of weeks ago, and the game itself, obviously being 2-0 down at halftime, was obviously tough, and then to come back and win 3-2 was just like, it's just a game that I'll always remember and I always refer back to in terms of things going against you and it seem like it's kind of doom and gloom, and then things like turn around, and it's just a complete change in emotion. I feel like you can't put into words the type of emotional roller coaster you go through in a game like that, where everything just seems like it's just going against you, and then it just changes, and then that's the type of stuff you just want to play it. Obviously, you don't want to be going through that every single game, but I mean, those are the type of games that you do remember, because it's just such a roller coaster that it makes you love the sport so much more. So yeah, I would say that's probably my memorable game.
Good. Right, have we got another question from the other class?
So they said, what's one piece of advice that you could give them to help in their careers?
Help you guys in your careers, I would say
Sorry about that. Oh, you're joking.
always
Right, that should be.
I would I would say personally to never give up on one, especially if you know football is something that you enjoy doing, and you're gonna put in the work in order to get to where you are. I feel like no matter what anyone says to you, you should always believe that you're gonna reach where you're destined to be. I feel like don't always do what else is doing. Make sure you're always doing extras. Make sure you're the best possible version of yourself, because extras do help. They definitely yourself, because you work on. For me, I felt like extras helped me a lot. I did a lot of extras in the off season. It helped me improve my game in certain aspects that I needed it improved. But it's all about, well, I know we play in a team game, in a team sport, but it's all about it's about you at the end of the day. How are you gonna kick on your career? How are you gonna be the best version of yourself? I would say that's what you gotta remember. And no matter what league you're playing in, division, doesn't matter. You just need to make sure you're consistently working hard, because you always want to better yourself at the end of the day. You always want to improve year by year, month by month. You always want to get better. So that's the best possible advice I'd give to you.
Yeah. Would you
Always
like
try
to
and be
give some of
better.
the boys as well a few of the perhaps the job roles that of perhaps people behind the scenes at the football club and within your career that have perhaps given you kind of like the advantage, so kind of helped your game? If it could be like the sports, like the scientist, the nutritionist, people like that, just so you know there's other alternatives out there if they weren't going to be footballers, but people that have such an influence within the game. Do you kind of give them a few ideas of roles like that have perhaps helped you?
Yeah, so we have you have like a gym therapist, who obviously help you in terms of what you need to improve on in terms of physically. So in terms of what you do in the gym, so we call them SC coaches, sports scientist coach. So they help you in terms of in the gym, like different exercises you can do in terms of building muscle, like in terms of power and stuff as well in the gym. We have the analyst guys who help us in terms of watching our games and telling us what we could do better in terms of little things like movement. For me, like movement in and around the box, what type of runs to make in certain, even some stuff on like penalties. So even taking penalties, like where the goalkeeper dives, does he go high or low? Does he guess? Does he react? Have sorry. So we have stuff like sport. He's coach who helps on certain set pieces, which ones work, which ones don't work, where you can catch teams out, who's weak in what area of the box. So we have like different types of coaches for different specific areas in terms of positionally in the team, which is obviously helpful for me. I've had yoga instructor that's helped me personally one-to-one, as well as the team come in and do a yoga session once or twice a week. That will that's more for mentally making sure that we're obviously at peace with our thoughts and stuff like that as well. So yeah, there are a few other things in and around the football environment. You got kitmen come and help us with whatever we need. If we need certain boots for certain days, if we need gloves, hats, trousers. So yeah, there are a lot of things around the football community which you can, if football doesn't quite work out for you.
Vicky, I think there's a couple of people as well that Elijah's missed off there, but he'll say as well, because I know you're still in the hotel at the minute, aren't you, Elijah? And
yeah,
the catering staff, the chefs that are down there, Alex and Sean, or Ginny Esther as he's known.
Yeah.
Boys, they make players food obviously for before training and after training. I think they're giving you your food to take home for dinner as well in the evening, aren't they, Elijah, at the minute? So they're fairly important as well.
Yeah, every day. So
and even kind of throwing that into you, Stuart, as well. Obviously, you kind of work within the club in a different area, so you might be able to throw in some roles within the club as well that perhaps the boys aren't aware of.
Well, obviously, from my job is Elijah will tell you, I'm down the training ground a couple of times a week for all the press and media inquiries we have for interviews and, sorting the pictures. The boys always want, Elijah and the boys always want their pictures on a Saturday night when they've scored, especially so they can put them on social media. So I forward the pictures that have been taken by the club photographer at the games. And so, yeah, there's that. But at the club, you've got the groundsman, obviously, Richard, and I think he's got 3 other groundsmen on his team who look after the pitches over here at Kenilworth Road, at the training ground, and over at Ely Way. So, they're really important, obviously, because if we've not got a decent playing surface to play on, we can't play the kind of football that Nathan wants the boys to play. Here at the stadium, there's human resources, there's commercial. Again, there's more catering staff here because on a match day, obviously, if you've got 10,000 fans inside Kenilworth Road, we've got, I'm trying to count them up now, probably a dozen different catering outlets that need food making for and selling, obviously. There's so many different roles behind the scenes that if the guys on the courses there, everybody dreams of being a footballer, and you want to be, whether you're playing in the Premier League or the Women's Super League or wherever. But I had those dreams when I was a kid of being a professional footballer. I didn't make it. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't nowhere near Elijah's standard, but I played non-league, and I earned some decent money playing non-league football semi-professionally while working full-time as well as a journalist. And then obviously the last 5 years I've been here, my boots were hung up long ago, my back went. But you know, there are so many, I've been very lucky because football has given me a career, not out on the pitch, but behind the scenes. And there are so many different roles that, you know, you guys might want to explore if the dream of being a professional footballer doesn't materialise.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't want to talk about it too soon because obviously Elijah's doing really well and he's only, what, 23, 22, 23, he's young, but kind of what are your kind of aspirations for kind of after the playing days? Is that something that you kind of think about from a young age now, or are you kind of still focused on playing, or what would be your direction, do you think, going forward?
I've always said I wanted to be a head coach or an assistant to a head coach, just because I can take all the drills that and over the years and put that towards a farm. I feel like I'm not I wouldn't say I'm not serious enough to be a coach, but I'd quite like to be in quite involved with like you just like one of the boys again. I feel like when you hang your boots up, I feel like you kind of not take for granted, but you just like want to be back in with the squad again and just be like a young footballer again. So I feel like for me, like a coaching assistant would be a perfect role for myself. And I've said that, yeah, when the time does come, like that's something I'd look to go into.
Yeah. Good. Have you got any other questions, boys? From either class? We're kind of looking now. No. Okay, I'll chuck one in. Oh, you got one?
Chucking, yeah, I've got one.
There you go.
Do you have much in terms of coaching on the mental side of the game, or is it all just physical performance style?
I would say, well, personally for me, I haven't had any not recently anyway, but when I was younger, we did have a mental coach. I haven't had one for years now, but I would say that's something that probably might need to get introduced or might need to shed some more light onto coaching football players mentally. Definitely, but I would say not for me. I don't think recently I've had much mental training in terms of football aspect, but mainly it's just physical. Yeah, I would say yeah, there does need to be some more, or if there is, then obviously I think more light should be shed on that, so players can have someone to go and talk to if things aren't quite going so well, or if things are going well and they just need someone to talk to, then that would be good.
Good. Really, just a kind of final one, just to kind of wrap it up. Really, there's a few boys in the room that I know are kind of like budding coaches and into their coaching. What has been like the biggest thing you've taken from some of the coaches that you've worked with, and what do you think, if you was going to be a coach going forward, that you would kind of take in that perhaps you've learnt from them coaches?
The biggest thing I've learned from the coaches is in terms of to help my career, or just how they are around the place, just in general.
Yeah, just a bit of both. Or if there's something that you kind of think, well, that coach was really good in that respect, perhaps you've had coaches that have perhaps been a little bit more psychological and kind of given you that boost, whereas some have perhaps been tactical and helped you perhaps in different ways. But what would you do going forward or take from them coaches?
Yeah. from those coaches, I would take just being like a good, I say, like man management. So I'd always want to be like involved with my players. Like I'd always not only just to be able to talk to them about football, but also talk to them about anything. I want them to be able to talk to me about anything in terms, because I feel like the coaches that I've had in recent times have always been able to talk to me not only just about football, but about life in general. So it feels like you've almost got like another person to talk to that can help you in another way. Because I know football is quite intense because you're there every day of the week, basically. And sometimes you might want to talk to someone at football that's not got something to do with football. So I feel like for me, what I take from that is being able to speak to all my players in terms of just only about football, but about life in general. So it feels like, because at the end of the day, you're family. At the end of the day, you see those football players a majority of the week. So it'll be nice to be able to speak to them about not just only about football, general stuff as well. And also like just being, when you are talking about football, just being football intelligent. So being able to know that there's certain things you do in games to be able to counteract opponents. Because I feel like like I've said, for the coaches that I've worked with, they're always thinking about ways that they can beat the opposition, and not only just one way, but 2 or 3 different ways they can go around of nullifying an opponent's strengths to make them, let's say, more vulnerable. So those are the 2 things I would take from the coaches that I've worked with in the past.
Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, thank you so much I think you've given everyone a great insight, and you, Stuart, as well, into kind of like things that they can do, obviously what it takes for you as a professional. I think there's definitely things that I think everyone can take from this little chat. So boys, if you just give a little clap for Elijah, so I know he'll be able to watch and see. Cool. Right, boys, you need to get ready because these coaches are ready to take you out onto the Astro now. So
Wow.
you've got 20 minutes to eat, apparently. So and then come and meet Tom after the gym. Yeah.
Thanks, Vicky. Thanks, Elijah.
Have they got a session?
They have got a session now. So yeah, we're actually in the gym now.
Have a good session.
Look at, check this out. This is our school. Here we go.
All right, yeah. A nice session, boys and girls.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Elijah. Thanks, Stu.
No problem. Good luck, Vicky. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hello, Elijah. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.